These are the remains of the Upper Fraser Mill.
It's just nuts. I mean, no excuse. There's no excuse.
Roof caving in, piles of scrap, a shadow of its old self.
It's a shame they closed the place down to begin with, and this is even more of a shame of what's happened to it. You know, lots of people spent their whole lives here, working.
Rolly Major worked here for 3 decades. He says heavy snow has brought down most of the structure, and scrap metal salvagers have picked over the rest. The Via Rail passenger train rolls by.
This is what they see. Welcome to Prince George. We're getting close. There's a dead sawmill.
Back in 2003, the mill cut its last piece of timber. It had been operating since the mid-1930s. Here in the Mobile Shop lunchroom is Canfor's environmental policy, saying that the company is committed to responsible stewardship of the environment through their operations. But taking a look around this mill site, it's not clear that that's been the case. It's out of Canfor's hands. Through a search of the property registry, CKPG found the site now belongs to Nechako Mechanical. It's part of the BID group of companies. BID wouldn't answer our inquiries about the property. Right now, Rolly Major worries the site could be a fire hazard, never mind a safety risk. With no fence or signage, anyone can walk onto the property. Major feels something should be done.
That's the crux of the problem right there, is that no one's done anything. Not my job, not my responsibility. Well, it is someone's responsibility, and there just is no excuse, really, no excuse.
Meantime, the Regional District of Fraser-Fort George is getting in touch with the BID Group. It's citing a bylaw for unsafe and unsightly properties to get the company to clean up. But until something gets started here, the mill will keep falling to pieces. Camille MacDonald, CKPG News. The recent cool, wet weather has been good news for forest fire crews. But there are still 5 major blazes burning in our region alone. CKPG News had a helicopter tour of the Uchinico Lakes fire near Quesnel. Now it's about 40% contained. This is what it looks like from above.
So even though we can't see them from up here, there are 20 people down there right now in this little section where these helicopters are working. They're on the ground trying to work to contain the fire on the north side of the river.
With every bucket of water, crews are one step closer to getting this fire under control. Rob Krause is the man in charge.
And there's lots of excitement and fantastic people. We get to work with the communities. We get to work with firefighters from all across Canada.
Krause and his team were called in to fight this blaze.
It wasn't if we were going to be called, it was when and where we would be going.
They survey the scene from above and decide the next plan of attack.
So the fire is not even close to being out yet. Every one of those, for every smoke that we can see, there are probably 10 or 20 that aren't big enough for us to see from the air.
The rain and cooler weather have put out the massive flames, but this fire is still burning deep underground. Crews are taking down trees to build a perimeter.
For containment as well as doing a lot of wet lining, so using their hose to spray down an area to make sure that the soil is very saturated to prevent further growth.
This blaze is burning on 2 sides of a lake.
The easiest access to the southern side of this fire is through Quesnel, and the easiest access to the northern side is through Vanderhoof. So for our crews, we can drive in between. We don't have to go all the way around, or we can fly crews. So we're very remote.
160 firefighters are on the ground with a support team back at camp.
I really enjoy it. It's nice to be localized to the area where the activity is. It's important for getting information out, as well as being around the crews so that you can get the most up-to-date information.
Everything from logistics and planning to food service, it's all here.
We're staying in tents. It's almost like a weekend camping trip, except you have to work hard every day.
This is Rob Krause's 34th summer fighting wildfires. He says it's rewarding to be able to help people in a time of crisis.
The resort owners, the cabin owners, and you get to be a help to them, and it's a big thrill.
When a book is due, this is where it should end up. But one title dropped here took a bit longer to make it back.
I came so close to not even opening it and dropping it in the garbage.
Librarian Brenda Borden has worked at the Nechako branch for 30 years. This is the first time she'd ever seen such an old dog-eared book. But underneath the yellow tape,
there was $100, and I nearly flipped. I couldn't believe it. I was so excited.
It's been missing for a while. Camping and Woodcraft, a handbook for vacation campers and for travelers in the wilderness, was borrowed from the Courtney Library on Vancouver Island over 30 years ago. It was returned here in Prince George with an apologetic note.
I hope whoever it was didn't feel guilty all these years.
Another plot twist, the identity of the honest library patron is still a mystery. The librarians have some theories about who and where he might be.
Him out in the lake country out here on a small homestead, an acreage, and that's how I picture him. And I hope that's true.
Maybe he used those skills to make his way up north and have some kind of frontier-like success here in the north.
Right now, the book is being shipped back to Vancouver Island, along with the $100. Might even go back on the shelf.
We were joking here in-house that, we're kind of excited to get back to the holds list and let people know that, the book's finally available, but probably won't happen.
The borrower didn't have to worry about hefty fines.
You could be billed for the cost of a book if you never return it, so there are repercussions on that end, but certainly there wouldn't be a case where a person would owe thousands for one book because they kept it for 30 years. They would return it and we would just say thank you.
A happy ending in the case of the missing book. Camille MacDonald, CKPG News.